To quote Plutarch, I think the mind is not a vessel that needs filling, but wood that needs liquidity. And I think the real value of going to a top school like Princeton is not just the lecture. It is instead the one-on-one mentoring, the interactions with professors, the in-depth discussions and the back and forth you can have with the brilliant faculty and with the other equally bright students. That's where the mind is built. So most of our university partners are using their online content hosted on Coursera to improve the quality of education for their on-campus students as well. The way this works is we're implementing what is now commonly called the flipped classroom, in which students can watch the lectures on a website. So that rather than walking into a large lecture hall to be lectured at, students can instead get the lecture on the website, where ironically their experience can be more interactive with variable speed playback, with in-video quizzes, instant feedback, where ironically their experience can be more interactive in a large lecture class. And what this does is this preserves the classroom, those 3 hours a week that the registrar gives us or whatever. This preserves the classroom time for discussions, for interactive activities, where students are not just being lectured at, but they're doing things with the professor, doing things and working on problems together with other students. This experience is much more interesting for the students, and many education studies, such as this one, have shown that these more interactive modes of teaching also result in much better student outcomes. So every single dimension is attendance, engagement, learning, you get much better student outcomes. And these are not 1 to 3% improvement. Right? You look at student learning, this is like a 30% improvement in student learning, which is a massive improvement in student outcome by the standards of education standards. So in my standard class, what I usually do now is, instead of delivering the lecture in the classroom, and students get to watch the lectures online the week before class, the day before class, I usually look at the dashboard, instructor dashboard on the Coursera site. Like this is a screenshot from our website shown on the left, to see what are the most common misconceptions that students have. It looks like choices 1 and 4 here, but the most common student misconceptions. I spend the class time doing a bit of just-in-time teaching. Use the time to talk about what students are actually confused about. And then the majority of my class is now spent in solving problem solving. Post problems, and students sit with their best friends and work on problems together, pull me into the discussion. It's a lot more fun for me as an instructor. My experience as an instructor, I've taught the same class at Stanford for over a decade now. And my experience as an instructor was that year after year, I've been walking into the same room, saying the same words to the same group. Actually, every year also telling the same jokes. And after a decade, it was slightly, it got a little repetitive. But what's more important is the student outcome, not how I feel about it. I think more importantly, from the student perspective, I think it's much more interesting for students to be working on problems with their best friends. It's the same that had to look previous. And so, with our university partners, as well as other universities that are licensed to the content groups, so not just the comments I listed earlier. We're helping many universities to improve the quality of education for their on-campus students as well. Just to wrap up, this is my final slide. Over the last year, I've visited a lot of countries. I haven't had a chance to visit India in person yet. I hope I will soon. I hope I will soon. But over the last year, I've visited a lot of countries, spoken with a lot of people about education. And I've been surprised to find that even today, a lot of people say that a high-quality education is only for the elite. Even today, a lot of people say that a high-quality education is only for the privileged. But I think that a high-quality education is a fundamental human right. And with technology, I think we can finally bring it to it. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Professor Ing, for the wonderful lecture. I believe we do have time for at the most 1 or 2 questions per campus. So may I now invite questions from Hyderabad campus. I believe they are being moderated by Sharad.
Sharad here from Hyderabad campus. Yes. Can you hear me?
Let's see, I can, yeah, it's a little difficult. I actually wonder, I would love to take questions and hear what people are thinking. I wonder if one option would be for people to use the WebEx chat to enter the
questions. Yeah, that would be perfect if we can take the questions from the room locally and then input it on the WebEx chat. That way will facilitate the Q&A session with Professor.
Professor Andrew, let me ask you a question. I am intrigued by the concept of peer grading, which occasionally is done. But I recall doing it many years ago, and the learning value of peer grading is actually more significant than homework in my mind. I mean, I think I learned more when I looked at other people's work and found how they did it, and I'm wondering if that captured in your thoughts part of it.
yes.
That will be very helpful.
So, this was peer grading. Sometimes the pedagogical value, the teaching value, is that students get to see each other's work as well, and we learn a lot from seeing the classmates' work. And that's actually totally true. In fact, there have been intriguing education studies that show that the learning effect of grading other students' work is perhaps even stronger for the students.
Hi, this is Thomas. You guys hear me?
Yes, Padma. You are on the audio call, Padma, and we are just going through the final rounds of Q&A. So it will be just a few more minutes before the next session.
Okay, let me try the video and see.
So with peer grading, what we found was that many of our students really enjoy seeing each other's work and getting to be a little bit of a teacher as well. You see what your classmates are doing and you get to give them feedback. One of the things that we're experimenting with is many students are very proud of their work. They're interested in design, video, we want to show it off. One of the things that we plan to roll out in classes where it's appropriate is to let students have a gallery so that students can just post their work and for everyone else in the class to see what one other interesting effect is that for students that don't know, for students that are new to a standard calendar class, principal calendar class, accounting calendar class, it's actually useful to see how well everyone else is doing. So people submitting homeworks that just aren't as good as everyone else's. Rapidly get feedback that helps motivate students.
So Professor, I also have a few questions from India through chat. One of them is, what can you do with bits? So people are very excited about Coursera and they want to know how more they can use it in bits as well.
Yeah, actually, Coursera would grow really rapidly, so we've been somewhat constrained by how more rapidly we can grow. Maybe there's a need to existing content to support as well. Until recently, I was carrying the scientific design PhD research, so I actually know the high reputation of this area. I want to explore ways to work with this. We thought that
that will be great. The next question, which is also coming from one of the classrooms back there, is: do you still teach, or are you now pure entrepreneur? Because most of the students are now looking at you as an entrepreneur professor.
Am I an entrepreneur professor? Honestly, I think of myself as an educator. Also, I think of myself as I am still a Stanford professor of cardiology. I was actually teaching a class at Stanford from September to December last year. You know, Coursera is a funny company. To me, it's all about education. It's not about
primarily emphasize learning through problem solving.
within Coursera, before any employee gets a job offer from us, I still make it a point to spend 5 minutes with everyone. So I'm sharing the number one rule of everything we do, which is everything I tell all my employees, everything you do, please figure out what's best for the student. Just that's the courses are in positions in funny ways. So, for example, we've often been why not charge $5 possibly very lucrative. But you know, what is to many of us a cost of lunch, to the neediest and the most vulnerable people in society, a kid in a rural village in China, or a poor kid in open what is to many of us in society, what is to us the cost of lunch, to the neediest and most vulnerable in society, they probably $5, probably
Video enabled.
so it's very much an area preventing the neediest in society from accessing the business.
Yeah, that's very true. So with that, Professor, I will pass it back to Raju, who's also chairman for all BITS Alumni Association and also an entrepreneur like you, to give a vote of thanks and close the session.
Yeah, we have a question from Goa.
Question for Goa. Is that okay if we, in the interest of time, take some more questions offline? And we would be happy to get those answered through some of the technologies we have now on the web channel. So,
again, Professor Andrea, thank you so much for being a part of this really momentous day, for BITS Pilani and really, I believe, for higher education in India. And I was particularly struck by your closing slide about being an educator, not an entrepreneur. How and why this has to be at the birthright which every 6 months around the world. And hopefully that dream will indeed come true, and we get with Lani and the alumni to be partner in that. We'd love to. Thank you once again for coming to the stage.
Thank you.
with that, I would now like to introduce Panshri Warrior. She is Chief Technology and Strategy Officer for Cisco. Panshri Warrior is charged with aligning technology development and corporate strategy to enable Cisco to anticipate, shape, and lead the major market transition. Panshri has been widely recognized for her creative, visionary leadership, and in 2012, Forbes named her one of the world's 100 most powerful women. And with that, Panshri is joining us today on WebEx, and I would like to first say a few words for the inaugural.
Great. Thank you, Shubha, and hello everyone. Good evening to those of you that are at various stations. We hope you're able to hear me okay.
That's perfect. Yeah, we can hear you okay.
Great. As Shubha mentioned, I'm Panshri Warrior. I'm the Chief Technology and Strategy Officer at Cisco. I will begin by saying thank you for inviting me to join you for this really exciting launch. As you guys have been speaking about, today we are celebrating a program that's already starting so that we can even greater emphasis for all of the students, faculty, and even alumni from this great institution. I started with my undergraduation from India at another school called Equality, which kind of belonging in the same class university studying science and engineering education to a lot of the workforce back in India. APSL, as you know, recognized as one of the fastest growing economies. And the expectations are high that we will see very skilled and talented workforce entering the field of innovation industries from India. And so it's an exceptional honor for me to be able to join this team. This also begins by changing, thinking about how the world is changing. And what that means from a technology point of view, what the opportunities would be for innovation coming out of schools like this. We kind of look at the technology transition. We are really at a threshold in the computing paradigm from the current power model to a social model, which is all about large-scale deploying applications and services that are abstracted away from the infrastructure. So, in other words, we're kind of moving from a client that is tied to a server in the compute paradigm to where things can get much more distributed and much more scale. At the same time, mobile is really becoming a major platform in how we are able to connect and talk to each other, and there will be a lot more applications created on mobile, and these can be, they're beginning to be called smart SMBs or smart mobile devices. They can be tablets, they can be phones, they can be smart combinations of video and audio technologies, and it's sort of interesting that they're able to do that today, where I'm joining you via audio call on WebEx, and I was able to see the video and the slides that are being presented, and others are joining their teleperson. So we're able to bring together different kinds of technologies and allowing us to connect from any part of the world, and I think the mobile world is due to become a huge opportunity for lots more innovation to be driving that. Along with that, we really see video will be a killer app going forward, and I think we will see video in many different forms. And of course, social, how can we enable collaboration for people that are at different places in the world to work together. And I think what we're doing today is a perfect example of that, where you can envision professors from different parts of the world being able to do classes at multiple campuses all at the same time. Instead of, a few years ago, actually, when I went to school several years ago, that was impossible to envision how one professor sitting at a university in Pilani can then teach classes perhaps at Stanford and Goa and other campuses all at the same time. So in a way, we are able to clone ourselves, so to speak, virtually and have that access for the delivery of content, but also the students to collaborate and researchers to collaborate. And I think that global collaboration and including the social platform for education is really going to become much more important. Along those lines, Cisco recently did a study around Gen Y, so people that are in their 20s and 30s, talking about what is important to them and how they learn differently from my generation, for example. And it's interesting what the reports come up with, that 80–90% of this generation, particularly in their 20s, use an account like Facebook or some other social media to connect with their friends and then share various kinds of content. They upload lots of content, whether it's photos or videos, and today these are mostly done for social personal relationships, but I think in a few years' time we'll see that get done. The social aspects of the sharing, drive more education and more projects that work together across different universities. So we are really happy to be the company that partners with all of you to enable this future of education. I really want to congratulate you because you're truly setting an example for the world as you implement the classroom of the future. which is going to be much more affordable, much more accessible. We can envision many millions actually being virtually educated and being able to partner with the students in this particular institution in a very different way. And I think it's, by the way, I was reading the briefing document and I really want to congratulate it. I understand that there are more women students here compared to all other top engineering schools in India, and this is a real passion of mine. So it's absolutely exciting to see that, and we are hoping that we can deploy the technologies that we develop, not only to support the educational institution, but to encourage more women to get into engineering and science, and hopefully the technology will be an enabler for that. As well as actually partner with you perhaps to create more exciting technologies that the world can enjoy. So I want to just say congratulations again, and it's a great pleasure for me to be a part of this, and I'm looking forward to visiting all of you face-to-face one of these days. Thank you, Shubha, and back to you.
Thank you so much, Pallav. I was suddenly being part of the BITS Women Organization. I feel proud as well. With that, I will pass it back to Shashi in India for a final presentation for the day.
It is a privilege to have with us the video message by BITS alumnus and the Chief Executive Senior Vice President of Cisco, Pankaj Patel. I would request Prem Jain to please introduce him to the audience.
Like Professor Banerjee said, Pankaj Patel is a graduate from BITS. He graduated in 1975. He is currently the Executive Vice President and Chief Development Officer of Global Engineering at Cisco. He basically leads in development and execution of $36.3 billion networking technology portfolio across a global team of more than 28,000 employees. He also helps define Cisco's technology innovation strategy to transform how people connect, communicate, and collaborate through integrated hardware and software platforms and architecture from Cisco's routing, switching, security, mobility, video, collaboration, data center, and cloud offering. Pankaj is at CES show, so he's not able to join us today. So he recorded this video for us.
May I please request Pilani campus classroom to please play centrally the video of Pankaj Patel's message.
Hello, I'm Pankaj Patel, a proud BITSian and from Cisco Systems. I'm sorry I cannot join launch and festivities in person today for major launch of BITS Connect 2.0. I want to congratulate Chancellor Mr. Birla, Vice Chancellor Professor Jain, directors of 4 campuses, faculty, students, alumni, and the entire team working behind the scenes to make today's launch very successful. This is a groundbreaking major milestone in BITS history, and we all are very proud. State-of-art telepresence technology will connect 4 BITS campuses. It is not just about connectivity, but as video becomes the next voice, this is about taking collaboration and learning to a new level. This is how the inter-campus, industry and BITS, as well as how students will connect and they will learn. It's a pretty unique opportunity for next decade. It will take remote teaching, video conferencing, and learning to a whole new level. my dear friend and a fellow Bitsy and Prem Jain, who is there in audience today. He has been a pioneer in leading a lot of efforts here in Silicon Valley for us to, dating back to BITS 1.0, when it was all about the GIGI and the IP telephony and the wireless access points throughout the campus. He has put in a lot of effort to really take BITS Connect 2.0 to a new level in which everyone will collaborate and learn in a very unique and very different way. Prem personally has been a lot of inspiration for me to get engaged both in BITS Connect 1.0 as well as in 2.0, and I want to thank BITS leaders, BITS International and Cisco Systems for today's successful launch. Thank you and best wishes. Hello, I'm Pankaj Patel.
BITS Connect 2, Shashikant Khandelwal to propose vote of thanks to all of the people who made it happen. Over to Shashi.
Hi everybody. So it looks like the responsibility of the vote of thanks has been passed on to me. We had a 2-hour session today, one for the launch and one with the lecture. And it was a very interesting session where we had Pilani, Goa, Hyderabad, Mumbai, San Jose and Boston, and then Padma Shri from her home connecting. And this is really unprecedented that we have so many sites connecting all at once and doing video conferencing in such a big way. I would first like to thank all the guests who have come at such an odd time. If you realize, we started at 5:30 p.m. in India obviously, but it was 4 a.m. in San Jose and 7 a.m. in Boston. And we had all the alumni guests joining there from San Jose. I see Raju and Satish and Shubha and others still there. And we had a lot of alumni joining from Boston, and I think we have Jaigor and Mukesh and some other people there. So I would like to thank them for coming at such an early morning hour. Very special thank obviously to the speakers, Andrew Ng, for delivering such a fantastic lecture to us, and Padma Shri Warrior, CTO of Cisco, for joining us and making time for 5 to 10 minutes for sharing her thoughts with us. Also special thanks to John Chambers and Pankaj, who were going to join but unfortunately had to go for a show in Las Vegas, so they took the time to send us a video message. Over to us, special thanks to Professor B.N. Jain and his senior leadership, all the 4 directors and all the deans in all the 3 campuses that we have here to make this event successful and to make the project successful. Special thanks obviously to Professor Rahul Banerjee for leading the project and for making it all happen across all the 3 campuses. It's we are live in this session now and it all looks good, but this project was a major logistical challenge. So many thanks to him for doing all the coordination across the India campuses to make it happen. Special thanks also to the BITSA teams involved in many different locations. You obviously see Boston, San Jose, but many people in India, from Delhi, from Bangalore, doing not just technology and design, but also doing marketing, PR and things like that. So many thanks to all